What's up guys, and welcome back to another Pokemon Sun and Moon video, and this is going to be another video going over sort of information from the demo data mine the other day. So of course if you're avoiding that, please feel free to click off, because otherwise you'll find out about it. So we're going to look at some legendary pre-evolutions again. I did a video talking about this the other day just after the demo came out, sort of talking about these two new Pokemon that look like legendary pre-evolutions, so Solgaleo and Lunala respectively, talking about it and throwing out my ideas. But because I was just so absorbed in the fact that we're actually getting pre-evolutions of legendary Pokemon, that the most obvious sort of outcome of this was not right in front of my eyes, because I kept on going about, they don't line up in the Pokedex properly. You have Lunala's pre-evolution, then Solgaleo's, then Solgaleo, and then Lunala. Doesn't make sense, and I completely missed out the actual what is going to happen. We're going to have a split evolution line for the legendary Pokemon. So not just evolutions or pre-evolutions for legendary Pokemon, but an actual full split line. Now, of course, we have the two pre-evolutions here. You can see the first one is basically a cloud. It's a sort of a lunar cloud, I'm going to call it, because it has stars in its clouds, and it's got a little happy face and stuff like that. It's got a little gold ring around its back. Then it evolves, and that gold ring moves out more into like a casing itself, and this cloud gets sort of restricted down into an orb, and you can see just in the center of that orb there is actually a nice happy smiley face for the very black center of the orb, and you can see there are two colors on there. There's a blue and a pink sort of as its mouth, as its facial, I don't know, sort of differences, who knows exactly. And of course then we have the split evolution. Now, as I mentioned, that blue line and that pink line go on to become Solgaleo's blue eyes and Lunala's pink eyes respectively. And of course, in terms of body itself, in Solgaleo's case, the casing becomes its mane and spreads out, and then Lunala's case, the casing sort of opens up again and lets its wings become the casing comes into its wings, and the cloud itself is then spread out across its wings as such, whereas in Solgaleo's case the cloud, the lunar stuff, is encased in its head. So split evolutions, how will they evolve? Well, I think it's a very good guess to say that Solgaleo, obviously being only available in Sun, will evolve depending on version. Now, whether the legendary itself is a level up evolution, we do not know, because of course we don't know anything yet. So whether the cloud guy evolves into the orb starting at level 30, and then the orb will evolve further into Solgaleo or Lunala depending on your version at level 55 for example, that is one possibility, but we don't even know if we're going to be able to get the Pokemon before then, so we have no idea. Because the trouble is, if Solgaleo or Lunala are related to the story, and we are able to get their pre-evolutions, say it fairly early on in the game, if you keep that pre-evolution on your team and evolve it and eventually get Solgaleo Lunala, perfect, absolutely great. However, if you don't, if you put it away in the PC and then just leave it there, what happens in a few trials time when you have to actually have a Solgaleo or Lunala to carry on the plot, and of course it's stashed away in a PC and it's level 5, and you've got to go 50 levels before you can even progress with the story. That wouldn't work, so they're going to have to do it a bit differently. We're going to assume the Pokemon are available in some cases, somehow, because of course they're on the Pokedex, so you have to register them at some point, I would assume. So who knows exactly when we're going to get them, but we do actually have a lead on when we're going to get them, because I present to you, of course, Lily and her mysterious bag, and we've seen this bag mentioned a few times. It was obviously in the E3 demonstration, we heard a sound from it and we looked into that, speculated maybe it was a Zygarde core, maybe Magearna, maybe not Magearna obviously, but Zygarde core, or something else. We have talked about other things as well. But then we've also seen it recently pop up in the demo where, there's a special event where you can find her looking out to the sea and ask her a little chat with her, and you say, "Who are you?" and she says she's looking after a Pokemon for the Professor. So this Pokemon, as I think has been confirmed by some people who actually played the game, there were a few news outlets that managed to play a couple hours of the game, this Pokemon, the Cloud Pokemon, is actually what's in her bag, and you see it apparently very early on in the game. Of course, it's not necessarily revealed what this Pokemon is, but we of course know what it is. So maybe at some point she gives you this Pokemon, as I mentioned, maybe at level 15, level 20 sometime, and you can use it on your team. But as I said, the only problem with that is then you don't necessarily have to evolve it. You're under no obligation to evolve it into the orb, or even further into Solgaleo or Lunala, which means it can't really relate to the plot. If they give you the legendary, it can't relate to the plot, okay? It's an either or. Either the legendary is part of the plot and you catch it later on after the whole stuff's gone down, or You get given it to you, and you can use it whenever you want, but it's not related to the plot, because of course you can't control what the player does in the game. That's sort of, well, you can of course, but it's not good practice for a game, especially a game like Pokemon where you can raise your own team and stuff like that. You know, if someone's planned out their team of, you know, I'm going to have, you know, the final evolution of Rowlet, I'm going to have Mimikyu, I'm going to have the final evolution of Pikipek, I'm going to have, I don't know, Turtonator, I'm going to have a Brawler, and I'm going to have a Pukimukyu. That's my 6 Pokemon. But then you start the game and then you get given this Cloud Pokemon and you realise, wait, this is the Legendary. I actually have to train this and evolve it as I go in my story, which means I have to drop a member of my team, which I don't necessarily want to do, especially if I don't like the Legendary line. Or, you know, the alternative is they don't do it and they don't realise they have to do it, and as I mentioned earlier, you get to the point where you need the Legendary in the plot, and of course it's level 15, it's level 20, and you have to then grind it up to level 50 to be even able to progress in the game. So I'm not sure how it's really going to work in terms of gameplay, I suppose, but I do believe it is the Cloud Pokemon that's in Lily's bag, and there will be some sort of, you know, some resemblance, some significance to that. Of course, whether or not we have to evolve the Legendary ourselves for it to maybe defeat the Ultra Beast, for example, is waiting to be seen. Maybe the Orb form can transform into Solgaleo or Lunala depending on version, so it can go back and forth. That would be a bit of a weird evolution, and I'm not sure you could call it an evolution, but it would be weird to see a Pokemon change between two dex entries, basically, depending on version, but who knows yet. Let me know what you think about down below. Do you think this is a split evolution line? Can you see it happening, you know, from Cloud to Orb to Solgaleo or Lunala? Let me know about that, and let me know how you think it's going to tie into the story. Do you think we're going to get given it at, you know, level 20 to train up and evolve ourselves as part of the game, or do you think it'll maybe mysteriously transform into Solgaleo, Lunala? Maybe it's Solgaleo, Lunala's babies, who knows? And of course, there's another question: are we going to be able to breed Solgaleo and Lunala? Because of course this is the first time we had a fully fledged evolution line for Pokemon, or for Legendary Pokemon I should say. So let me know what you think about that down below, and if you enjoyed the video be sure to hit the like button. But for now, this is going to be it for today, so I shall be seeing you next time. So thank you for watching, goodbye my friends.